Hello all, this is John from EastCoastArmory.com, and I'm here today with a project start / unboxing video for my next 1/6 scale tank project, which, in following with my early war German theme, will be a Panzer II light tank, or also known as the Panzer II. The model itself will be the Dragon unassembled 1/6 scale Panzer II Ausf kit, and it is currently still in its packaging. The model itself was purchased from Toy Soldier Brigade. He delivered it promptly to my house, and when it first came in, I quickly opened it up to inspect it, just to see if all the parts are there, and see if there were any problems with the kit. The kit was A-okay. I just sealed it back up and put it in storage until I finished some more projects. Now being the time to start this one. When I first opened it up, I really didn't look at it in detail. It was just pretty much a quick gloss over. And in this video, I'll go over in detail of what you get with the kit. Before I can review the model, I need to open up the box, which will be assisted with my handy-dandy switchblade. Alright. Now that the switchblade did its thing, let's see what we have on the inside. There she is. Not much of a box art, specifically for a DML kit, but I'm really more interested on what's on the inside as opposed to the box art for this model. And here's the model of its shipping carton. As you can see, it's a pretty big box. For those of you who are primarily 1/35 scale or plastic model builders, this is probably the biggest plastic kit I think exists, but I could be wrong on that. The model itself, like other 1/6 scale DML plastic kits, is nothing more than the unassembled version of their pre-built Panzer II that was released a few years ago. The model, even on the box art here, shows you the same pictures that were shown when the pre-built version was first released, I believe for Dragon Expo exclusive. This is typically the trend with the DML doing this. This was also done with their Schwimmwagen, their Jeep, pretty much every single one of their 1/6 scale plastic kits that are on the market started out as a pre-built. After removing the carton, it is time to now go inside of the box to see what we got. The kit itself is actually pretty well packaged, which is a good testament to DML shipping quality for these kits. And there we have it. Instructions. Basically just a bunch of CAD drawings and illustrations. The instructions themselves look to be pretty thorough. This is somewhat new for DML plastic kits. Previously, with their first generation kits like the Schwimmwagen and the Kubbelwagen, the instructions were pretty vague and somewhat difficult to follow. However, I believe starting with their Jeep and their Panzer II, the instructions look just like that of, say, one of their other plastic kits. I mean, this here is a instruction sheet for a 1/72 scale Tiger I that they have, and it's pretty much the same quality. Moving past the instructions, we can see that the kit looks like a big version of the DML plastic kits that we all know from buying in the hobby shops. This here is the MG34. This is nothing more than the kit version of their pre-built MG34 that comes with their action figures, as well as their MG34 plastic kit that they sell on the market. Moving our way to some of the biggest runners I've probably ever seen. This is the upper hull and the engine deck. Plastic itself, just to get a look at it, it's pretty nice. It's about like 1/8 of an inch thick. Nice and sturdy. Not weak or will warp over time. It's a very nice. The material itself is also the same plastic that's used on the other DML plastic model kits, which glues well and also paints very well. Moving on, looks like we have here a runner with this looks like some hull components. There's a storage bin that probably goes in the back. This is the front plate with the transmission axis hatch, side hull pieces, and this looks like the mantlet of the Panzer II's gun. I know this is the channel for the tank's antenna base and antenna. And on the rear portion here, we have the tank's 20mm gun. Detail on it's pretty crisp. The molded in muzzle brake over there could be improved. And overall, the details are pretty nice. It's a pretty nice vehicle DML pick to make in 1/6 scale. There's the fire extinguisher, all in plastic. Details look adequate. There's the tank's jack. And this looks like the crowbar with a big molded in clamp over here. And the shovel and the axe. Moving our way to the next layer. We have here it's like the splash rail for the turret. Fenders. Fenders have their excuse me, their German cross diamond plate molded into the fenders, which is a nice feature. Some more fender work. I think these are mud flaps. Engine grill. Some rudimentary molding and detail here on the inner portion of the, probably the engine hatch. Moving our way down to the bottom of the box, we got the tank's suspension. Road wheels here have the very nice detail of having the Continental Rubber Company's detail as well as the rubber number molded into the rubber tires. Here goes a quick shot of the tank's leaf springs. Remind me a lot of the 1/35 scale Tamiya ones from back in the day. I've never built the DML plastic versions, however, if those of you out there who probably have might see a resemblance with these runners as opposed to the 1/35 scale counterparts. Moving our way still further into this big box. So we've got here a quick little decal sheet. I'm not so sure if I'm going to be using these decals or not as opposed to just making my own stencils. I found that in this large scale, water slide decals are a little bit problematic. Personally, I like to make my own stencils and actually paint on the markings as opposed to decals. But some people have used them in the past with good success. Moving along to this big box here, we got some, what's this, some photo etch. This looks like, yeah, this is the perforated plate that covers the exhaust pipe. It's brass and has all the perforations in it, which is a nice touch. This is going to paint very well and have a nice realistic appearance to it. These here are most likely the pins for the track links. You know, the tank has workable track links, which is a great feature, especially on a tank this size. Vinyl tracks just don't cut it. And this here looks like, yeah, this is the front plate / transmission cover. And wow, looks like we still got a lot more box to go. Okay, I know what these are. These are the tank's drive sprockets right here. So get a good feel of the size. There's my hand. The sprocket's pretty big. That there's the transmission final drive. And these look like driver visors, vision blocks. There's a nice shot of the idler wheel. The idler wheel is very detailed. It has separate molded in. The rings are not molded in and glue on, which will have a nice realistic appearance. And on the sprocket, the drive hub has, or the hubcap has little castle nuts that are molded in with the detail. That's also a pretty nice little feature. Now, obviously, these are the tank's track links. They're already pre-drilled out or molded hollow, and have some pretty nice detailing to them. They even have the small little inlet, so it gives you a nice view of it. It's going to be fun to clean and clip all these parts off the runners, but I guess that's just part of the charm. This here is the turret with the internal molded in, or the internal gear molded in. It's going to look nice with that built-in turret interior. And it looks like we're getting down to the bottom of the box. This here is this is the tank's hull components. This here is the hull floor. It's got some nice lower hull detailing. It's got the rivets and axis panels all molded in. And one thing that's unique on these DML kits is they have an interesting rigidity, like zigzag pattern here. I guess it optimizes with using the amount of plastic that they use, but it keeps it nice and rigid. So that's a nice little feature. Clever way to work around with casting large plastic components. And these here are loose runner. These here look like to be hull sides. So it all assembles into one little plastic box that has the running gear mounted to it. Note all of the little bolt detail on the hull exits. And on the interior portion here, it has the same rigidity braces that we saw earlier. Now, if you're making the tank with a full interior, which a lot of people have been doing, one technique that I've seen and I would have done myself is to plate the entire hull interior with sheet styrene, thus giving you a nice smooth surface to work off of to add detailing to. Okay, now that I have most of the parts picked up, this build as for the build itself, it's going to be a static model, and it will be mostly built out of the box. If I see any room for improvement, I will make it. I predict that this build is going to go pretty much fairly smooth. There are some missing details that DML omitted, and they will either be scratch built or acquired if already on the market. And right now it's too soon to say what exactly I'm going to do to it detail-wise. But that concludes this project start / unboxing video for this 1/6 scale DML Panzer II. Stay tuned for more progress on this model, and don't forget to check out eastcoastarmory.com for more 1/6 scale projects and 1/6 scale detail components. Thank you.